Morning, all. All right, so a little bit of a news of the day video for today. Nice short video here. In between the second and third period between Tampa and Detroit, a game which proves it's important to watch every game. So there's conflicting information out there regarding the Canucks, and I get the feeling they're going to dominate the news cycle for weeks. So it does appear it's the worst of the outbreaks we've seen this year, above Buffalo, New Jersey, and all the others. And Darren Drager's saying it's over 20 players and staff. Ben Kuzma, who's local, has come out and said it's not. Darren Drager's come out and said that multiple players have needed IVs. Ben Kuzma has said one has needed an IV, which is still, I mean, these guys are a lot younger than I am, a lot healthier than I am. Thanks, no thanks. So, not interested. And so there's some debate on how many have got it and the severity and what we're seeing. Either way, this is a team that's down, and it's causing the NHL to have to rethink things and look at the potential for, okay, so if this blows up, so what we're seeing in Vancouver, it's going to end up other places too. And so with that in mind, and Vancouver being ground zero for all this, they're looking at the possibility of a bubble for the playoffs again. Now, I would think it'd be 4 divisional bubbles. That's what I think they would do, and I mean just spitballing, probably Las Vegas for the West. I would think New York for the East. I would think for the Central, you'd probably look at, I don't know, Tampa maybe, and then for the North, you'd move them into the states. And go from there. And I say that because players don't get vaccinated in Canada. Players can get vaccinated on the American side of the border. So I think that just makes a lot more sense. So and you can't have fans in attendance in Canada. You can in parts of the states. So it might be better monetarily for the NHL to take the Canadian teams, put them in the US for the playoffs, and in a bubble maybe have like limited, and I'm talking very limited attendance, because I still think that's going to happen. But again, my thoughts with the Canucks, and hopefully everybody ends up okay. I'm hoping that the reports that it's less severe is accurate, but again, we don't know because they're not going to tell us. So yeah, it's all up in the air. I know they called up a couple of guys from the AHL, but again, it's all still up in the air. And the NHL is looking at the reality that the Canucks probably don't play 56 games and how they're going to work that out with the rest of the Northern Division. I've also said, you could just have the Northern teams play against each other to get to 56 games and realize just the Canucks aren't going to finish it out. And there's also talk of the Canadian divisions playoffs starting later than the divisions south of the border. So it's a lot of stuff. So yeah, and there was a memo sent out to teams about guidelines. Part of now, because see, people are throwing all these accusations at the Canucks now, stupid and this and this and this. Players have been getting a little bit more lax with some of it, and there was a lot of talk last night about DJ Smith taking his gum and throwing it. And yeah, that's a bad one. And I've noticed that of the coaches, Smith seems to be the one that every time he has to speak or raise his voice, he takes the mask down. It does nothing if you're doing that. So there's a lot of things here, and that's one of the things they had in their memo to teams, like coaches need to take this seriously too. And so yeah, just speaking from personal experience, when we were out a couple weeks ago and we all had to be masked up for where we were, if I had to raise my voice, I didn't need to take the mask down. So my voice still projects. The words "knock it off" could still be heard. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Because again, the NHL realizes just how easily this can all completely fall apart. That what's happening with Vancouver could easily happen somewhere else. They have to also change this idea that if somebody has a positive test on a Tuesday, then you remove them, and on Wednesday everybody else still goes out and has a practice. That's something that just I don't understand. I don't get how you get a positive test and then the team still no. You should have that separation as soon as something happens. But again, it's an interesting situation we're in right now, and I'm looking forward to next season when hopefully this isn't still a conversation. All right, on to other hockey-related items. Jacob Vrana, interestingly enough, is a scratch again for the Washington Capitals. Is he on the trade block? Are we in a situation where Daniel Sprong and the way that he's played has meant that Vrana, maybe he's expendable and maybe you trade him in order to get something else on the roster? And I say this because Vrana would have definite value. And if you want to make a hockey trade, which as crazy as that sounds, maybe teams do that at the deadline this year, Vrana could be an attractive option for a team. He's still young. He's still got potential and upside. We'll see what's going on with Vrana with the Capitals. Because I haven't seen anything saying there's any kind of an injury there, just that he's been scratched in favor of Sprong or, Panik gets put back in the lineup, this kind of thing. Luke Johnson on waivers today, the latest of the players who get waived that not going to get taken, but worthy of note, throwing it on the board, that kind of thing. And so we'll see. Because again, sometimes it's odd who gets taken and who doesn't, so we'll see. Good news for Canes fans, right? Peter Mrazek back. It'll be interesting to see how things work in Carolina with their goaltending. Nedeljkovic has been very good. Reimer has been solid. Now Mrazek's back. Teams don't need a 3 goaltender rotation. It generally doesn't work. So now what? So there's the question that I think it'll be interesting to see how Carolina approaches things. Because you can only protect one as well during the expansion. So why not put one of the goalies out there? Whether it's Reimer, whether it's Mrazek, why not put one of them out there? The goaltending market, it feels like isn't as cold as it was during last offseason. So you might find a taker for one or the other. We'll see what happens. Maybe he gets a couple of starts and then he ends up on the move. But again, we'll see what happens. Salary cap being as it is and everything. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.